What's under the covers of atheism? And not just atheism, agnosticism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam. There's as many different belief systems as there are what people want to believe, and you can clothe them in science, rationality, and so on. But it's important to look under the covers so you can know what you're buying into. Now, I've never watched The Bachelor or Bachelorette, but imagine yourself in a situation where you're shown a handful of people and you're asked, bind yourself to one of these people as a spouse. Now that's going to have a huge quantity and quality of impact on you. So you better get your positives and negatives straight. You better find out everything and not just go with what people are covering themselves with. There's really just 4 general worldview beliefs. So let's start with pantheism, which includes the Eastern religions like Buddhism, Hinduism. There are things we need to think about. For example, how would you respond to science showing that the cycling universe idea is inaccurate and that the idea that the universe is eternal and didn't have a beginning is inaccurate? And if God and the universe and all of us are all one, we're all one thing, we're nature. But now what we found is all of nature came into existence. So there has to be something even beyond nature. And the idea that where we're going to end up afterwards, is it nirvana? Well, what science has shown is we're not going to end up in nirvana, we're going to end up in heat death. These are just some of the questions that need to be answered. We need to look at, are there positive supports and what are some negatives? And as far as the 3 major world religions, those are covered also. This site focused on Christianity, so let's look at one that Christians have to come to terms with. Because Christianity claims that God is all-powerful and all-loving, yet I live in a world that has tons of suffering, pain, and evil. So we have to reconcile that. Questions like this, and there's a lot of other ones, are covered in the frequently asked questions section on the website. A third general worldview is agnosticism, which sounds reasonable at first. But it is reasonable only as long as the person is taking it as serious as it is to find truth and then base their life on it. A question for agnosticism comes in its consistency of application. Is it reasonable to permanently straddle the fence in other areas of your life? For example, you don't know for sure if your car's going to carry you safely to the next place or you're going to have some horrible accident. You don't know for certain what career might be best for you. But do you live your life as a permanent driving or career agnostic? Comedian Stephen Wright spells out what's really going on. In his monotone voice, he says, for these type people, their conclusion is just a place where they got tired of thinking. Which means, in this case, agnosticism is really just atheism. Here's a way to know whether your agnosticism is reasonable or you're just putting your wants and your comfort overall. When you claim that you can't know the truth, how do you know you can't know? Can you give me 5 solid reasons? If you have to take too long thinking about that, that's a problem. And have you looked into the other belief systems, what their positive evidences are? Can you list what they are for some of the different ones? Again, if not, that's telling. If not, you owe it to yourself to keep pursuing a solid foundation for the worldview you stand on. And finally, for the worldview of atheism. Atheists, I've noticed, like to clothe themselves with robes of science and rational thinking. But when you look under the robe of science, you actually see some concerns. And also, when you're looking under the robe of rational thinking, there are more things to think about. For example, if all we are nature and natural laws, then every single molecule in your brain is entirely controlled by initial conditions and natural laws. Which means you think you have free will, your thoughts, your actions, your emotions, who you love, is all you. That would all be 100% controlled by nature and natural laws. You would have as much control over your life as an open can of soda fizzing. And this isn't just me saying this. These are what the leading atheists in the diverse fields of study are writing in the peer-reviewed literature. You must be thoughtful in your beliefs. Because reality isn't like Burger King. You can't have it your way. And it's not like a buffet where you can pick and choose from different worldviews and put them together into whatever you want. Reality doesn't care what you want. Reality is what it is. And you need to thoughtfully seek it in order to put yourself on a safe foundation. The details comparing all the different worldviews and what it would mean for you depending on what worldview you stand on is all covered in the last section of the website, and the link is given below.